Hey, what's up guys? It's Amped Angelo coming at you with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about if you should go into the skilled trades, if you should become a laborer and work with your hands, if you're stuck at a job, a dead-end corporate job where you're doing white-collar work inside of an office, should you go into the trades and try it out? So what I'm going to be doing in this video today, I'm going to be detailing what kind of attributes, what kind of skills, not necessarily skills, what kind of personality traits you need to become successful within the trades. So whether it be like being a roofer, being an electrician, being a plumber, HVAC, mechanic, any of those, what you would need to be successful in it if you're thinking about doing it. So personally, I'm an electrician. I've been doing it for about a year, so not very long, but I really enjoy it actually, and I enjoy the work. Even though it can be repetitive, I do enjoy it. And the attributes I possess currently is I'm hardworking, I'm good with my hands. I wasn't at first, and so that's something you can actually develop is you can develop skills in the trade. You don't necessarily have to be proficient with a drill. You don't have to be proficient with any kind of tool. If you're completely green like I was when I first started, you can develop and become fast and become relatively quick like I have becoming an electrician. So any trade you can become fast in. But actual personality traits that you need to succeed in the trades, those are kind of harder. Those are harder to develop than the actual skills involved in the trade. Some of those personality traits would be hardworking. You have to be persistent. You have to be mentally tough. You have to have thick skin. And that goes for probably 99% of trades. You have to be like willing to take criticism. If you're not able to take criticism, if you don't respond well to criticism, I would not recommend you going into the trades, because you will be criticized. Whether it be for your work, whether it be for how fast you're working, you're going to be criticized at some point. So just take that into consideration before you start applying. If you're one of those people that don't show up to work on time, you don't show up to work at all, the trades aren't for you either. The trades require someone who's constantly coming to work on time, constantly reliable, because reliability leads you to become a foreman, to be a lead, and you can become a journeyman, being a plumber, being an electrician. You can have that knowledge, but you also need the traits to become a foreman as well. Those are two separate things. You're not going to become a foreman even though you're a journeyman. You got to be a lead. You got to have a leader personality to be able to become a foreman. So when you get into the trades, you most likely, well, definitely will start out as a helper. You'll help out the job site, you'll help the foreman, you'll help get tools, you'll help do various different things, and basically what your responsibility is to do the work quickly, and the foreman's responsibility is to make sure you're doing the work quickly and making sure that the work is getting done. So what you should focus on is doing the work and not making other people do work for you. If you're a helper, you got to kind of know your role. So if you're naturally like a leader, and let's say you were white collar and you were a sales manager and you were bossing around all these people, and you want to come into the trades, just expect that you're not going to be the one calling the shots. You're not going to be the one calling the shots in the trades. So just keep that in mind. It might be a little bit, if you have like an ego, it might be like ego death. You gotta just toss that in the trash. Just toss your ego in the trash. There's no place for ego when you're a helper. or a foreman even. Like if you're a foreman, and good foreman, I would say, I'm not a foreman, but what I've seen, the foreman that I like working under, the traits they have is that they will help you, they will teach you, they'll be direct with you, but also they'll help you get to the end point, help you succeed. So that's a good trait for a foreman. A good helper is someone who takes criticism and takes it not to heart. Nothing's personal unless the foreman is making it personal, then which you have a bad foreman. But anyways, if you come into the trades thinking that you're gonna be a top dog, that's not the case. You got to put in the time. You're going to be working with people probably who have had 10 years, 20 years. I've worked with people who've had 40 years of experience in this trade. So there's always going to be bigger fish, and you kind of have to put some respect on those people. Or, I mean, in the trades, it's a matter of knowledge. If you have more years in the trade, you're probably going to have more knowledge than someone who's had a year experience in the trade compared to someone who's had 20 years. So you have to be able to listen. It's big listening. And if you're gonna be in the trades, it's really hard on your body. Depending on the trade, I'm an electrician. My knees, by the end of a day in the finish, are completely shot. And sometimes my hands, my wrists, I got like carpal tunnel going on. But being an electrician, and it isn't that physically demanding compared to something like being a concrete worker, or being like a bricklayer, being someone who's on a roof, being a roofer. Those are very physically demanding jobs right there. And plus, you kind of have to be good with heights, which I wasn't coming into being an electrician. I'm still a little bit like hesitant when it comes to heights, but I'm definitely a lot better now than I was when I first started. I was scared to go on like the second to top step on like a 6-foot ladder, and now I can do that easily. It's no problem, but you just get used to it. It's just repetitive. It's every single day you're doing the same thing. So the more you do the same thing and nothing happens to where you get hurt, the more your brain is like, all right, like this is the same old thing, let me just do it, and you don't even think about it. So those are just some tips I would give if you're like scared of heights or whatever. But yeah, typically in the trades, you're gonna come across heights. So something that you should ask yourself, like, should I go into the trade? Should I do this? When it comes to like compensation, you're not gonna, if you're, let's say you're making like 80 grand a year at a white collar job or any sort of job, you're making 80 grand. Don't expect to be making that same amount of money coming into the trades. Like 80 grand, that's like about 40 an hour. You're not going to be making that until probably like 3 to 4 years into the trade, which isn't like a terribly long time. But once you become a journeyman, that's when you can start to look for that 60 to 80K a year range, depending on the state that you live in. If you're in California, that's a little different. The cost of living is a little bit higher there, so the starting wages are gonna reflect that. But I live in Ohio, and like right now I make around 45K a year. So, and I'm only a year in, but as time goes on, like second, third, fourth, I'm gonna start looking for those salaries that kind of get to that 80K range by the time I'm like fourth or fifth year in. So just keep your expectations kind of low when it comes to that. If that's something that you can't do in your financial situation, then I guess being in the trades won't be for you. But unless you can make that work, like if you have a side hustle or anything like that, then go for it. Like if you have a side hustle where you're making an extra 20K a year on top of like 35 to 40K base that you're making starting out in the trades, and that's 60K a year, then you can keep on living. But if you can't do that, then I wouldn't recommend doing it, or else you're just putting you and your family in a financially bad situation. So yeah, just think about that as well. But if you can do it financially, then I would say go for it. Especially if you have the right traits, you know, you're hardworking and everything. But that's just something to think about before you get into the trades. And being an electrician specifically, it's actually pretty fun. You get to do various different things, like you do residential work, commercial work, you even do fire alarm work, which I have my fire alarm license, and that actually adds about $1 or $2 to your salary. So if you're an electrician, I would definitely recommend getting your fire alarm license, because then you can install fire alarm systems for your company, which just, you know, makes you more valuable as a worker. That's pretty much like the biggest thing about becoming a blue collar worker, is how valuable you are to the company. Like if you're bringing in new clients and everything, your boss is going to see that, and you're going to become more valuable as a worker. Not only are you working and putting your time in, putting your hands at work, getting your hands dirty, you're also bringing in money for the boss, and that will just lead to more raises. And once you become a journeyman, and once you become licensed, like I'm an electrician, I can't do side hustle work. Technically, I can't do side jobs because it would be illegal unless I have a license or someone that would be willing to supervise me with their license on a side work. So technically, legally, I'm not able to do side work, and that's something else you got to think about as well. So if you're going to be an electrician, maybe you should do like a side hustle, like cleaning gutters or power washing, or something that doesn't require like a full-blown license to do, or mowing lawns or something like that. Like if you got to do other different things, then you can just do those. Same thing with a plumber. I think you have to be licensed to do plumbing work, because the inspector has to come sign off on whatever you're doing, and they're going to want to see a license. So, and also permits. Got to be able to pull permits. So yeah, you got to be able to you got to be able to have your license, your journeyman's license, to be able to do some stuff legally. Like, I mean, if you can try to get away with it, you can still do some stuff. Like if you know how to fucking put in an outlet, then go fucking do it. I'm not going to tell you not to. More than likely 99% of the time, unless you're dog shit at your job, it's going to go well. Putting in an outlet, putting in a new outlet, it's not too hard. But yeah, I wouldn't do anything like that until you get at least 6 months in the trade, where, okay, you know what you're doing, you know what kind of wire you're using. Okay, 12 wire, you got to use 12 wire for different things, and you got to use 14 wire for different things, different types of circuits, 15 amp, 20 amp, whatever the fuck. We're not going to go into that right now. That's not the kind of video that I want to make, but we'll talk about that shit in a further video. But right now, if you're looking to get into the trades, be a good worker. Also, don't think you're going to be like top dog. And if you're looking for good compensation, you're gonna have to wait right through it. It's like college. It's like, all right, you're doing a 4-year program, 4-year apprenticeship. By the end of those 4 years, you're gonna be making what you would make, you know, after you get a college degree. You got to think about it that way. And you're getting paid to do the work while you're an apprentice. So there's a lot of benefits to going into the trades, especially right now. There's a trade shortage. So people are looking for electricians, they're looking for plumbers, they're looking for different skilled laborers right now, because there's not many people getting into it, because there's this stigma that skilled workers and skilled laborers are, you know, bottom of the barrel. They're not real people. Like, they're not smart, they're dumb, they're drug addicts, they've been to prison. Now, some of that might be true, but on the other hand, like, you as a person, you're your own person. Like, you, just because someone else has a stigma about, this electrician, he looks like he has tattoos, he's been to prison. You can't base yourself on what other people think of other people. Like, you got to just be yourself, and you can build a good relationship with a client even though you're a skilled worker. Like, I don't understand the stigma about skilled workers being dumb and being stupid and all that snaz. Like, this is the only path they have. So right now I'm on a job site and I'm doing apartment buildings and I'm helping out. I'm a helper. And pretty much what I do every day is I clock into work, I show up on time, and I do exactly what the foreman says, and I get that shit done. And by the end of the day, I feel accomplished, and I'm one step closer to becoming a foreman every single day because I'm putting the work in, getting that knowledge, and eventually I'm going to start my apprenticeship program, become a journeyman, probably get my contractor's license a year after that, and then start my own company. That's the route I want to take, and that's the route that a lot of people should try to take, because the money in this is going to be great. Right now it's not the greatest, but you got to think about the future. 3 to 4 years from now, it's going to be easy. It's going to be pretty much printing money by the time you're 3 to 4 years in, or 5 years in, you got your contract and license and everything. So yeah, just some stuff to think about if you're thinking about getting into the trades. That's just my 2 cents. I've only been in it for about a year, so I'm not like the most experienced person in the world, but also I have enough experience to tell you, what to expect when you get into it, because I was that person. I was in sales. I got into it. One of my buddies, Dylan, he got me into this trade, and he pretty much said, like, hey, like, if you have thick skin, if you're able to show up on time, if you're able to talk shit pretty much, like, in a good way, then this might be right for you. And I did it, and I like it. So yeah, if you have a friend of yours that's telling you the same thing, I would definitely consider it. But that's all I got for today. If you guys like this video, like and subscribe for more content like this. I appreciate it. See you later.